Well, I want to give some fun updates. And actually, um, maybe either Luke make note or all of you make note or something, because there's a few prayer request points on this that I'm going to share that are just wild and super exciting. Okay. And as prayer hubs, I want you guys to have that. So we'll get to Q&A. We'll hit that, eventually in this meeting. But I just want to be able to share some updates and get us kind of on the same direction today. Um, so a few updates that are just incredible. We've got 15 of the 16 regional prayer houses or regional prayer hubs covered. The one that we don't have yet is Toronto, but Acquire the Fire is looking at a probable to be able to take over that role in Toronto. So we're pretty close. Oh, there's my son. Hey, dude.
Hi.
Um, uh, Love you, dude. All right. You got to scat because I got to do this meeting. All right. Bless you, bro. Um, okay. So in DFW, we've got we've got, yeah, over 20 churches that have collaborated to say we're going to do outreaches. And several of those are mega churches with multiple campuses. So we're seeing people in our region gather together to be a part of this. It's going to be really cool. I know the story in Houston is just silly times 10. There's a collaborative effort of about 300 churches that are in a network together that are going to be working together for these outreaches and in partnership with the Prayer Initiative. I don't know about everybody's city, but I bet those are probably two of the strongest testimonies. But I just want to give us some encouragement that like things are happening in this whole 16 city collaboration thing. Um, One of the things I think I showed you guys these posters, but I wanted to show you. We got them printed. Um, we got a bunch of posters printed that we're going to put up all around our base. These are the big versions of the PDFs I already sent you. And I think, actually, I don't think whatever version, I hope you were able to edit. Maybe it was a Canva file. But I just wanted to give you kind of a picture of what this could look like. We've got like 6 or 8 of these different posters that we're going to have up all around our prayer room, in addition to soccer balls and just all kinds of stuff to make it really feel like World Cup Central for the 40 days. So just wanted to show that off. Okay, I want to give you some prayer points that are super fun. So Kyle Martin, that's a name that I would love for you guys to have memorized because he's the dude who's over Time to Revive. They're the outreach leg of this initiative. And Kyle and I are in partnership for this whole Jesus Saves 26 thing. And he's really the brains behind it. He's been networking in all these different cities, and he's the one that's going to be bringing people into the various cities to do training for evangelism and such. So Kyle Martin, good buddy, he shared some crazy updates with me the other day that I just wanted to share with you. Okay, for one, um, there's a pastor who is serving kind of as an unofficial chaplain for the Colombian national team. So Colombia is one of the main players in the World Cup. Okay, and he tells me, he says, yes, this pastor, 16 of the 26, I think 26 is the number of soccer players on the roster for each national team. 16 of the 26 are believers, and he's discipling them. And he's like their unofficial chaplain, and he travels with them. So he's going to be with them when they're in America doing, the World Cup. I was like, that is the coolest thing. Well, it gets cooler. 6 of those dudes have recorded a video together that they're pushing out on social media, and they're getting in national press across Colombia. These 6 dudes are sharing the gospel in this video. And they're like, listen, we're the Columbia national team. We love Jesus. You should love Jesus. I was like, this is awesome. So Kyle tells me he catches wind of this, and now he's working with a number of other clubs of these national teams to produce similar videos. And he's going to approach the U.S. team to see if the believers that are on the U.S. team would make a similar video. And I'm just like, how cool would this be if you could get 3, 4, 5, 10 of the national clubs and they're all promoting Jesus in relationship to the World Cup? I was like, that is super cool. Okay, it gets cooler. Kyle tells me, he says, listen, I've got some connections. And for those of you who are like, this touches on some political stuff I don't love, just try to read between the lines on the part about this that's just so incredibly beautiful. He tells me, listen, I've got some connections to the White House that are on the strike team for the um, uh, the World Cup. So every time America does something big, the president, whatever president it is, will normally create a strike team. I may be using the wrong term. Luke, what term did I use in staff meeting the other day? Not strike team, but you don't remember. That's okay. Let's just call it a strike team. It's a special group of people, like a little, I don't know, a
Task
little
force? Is that what you said?
task force. Thank you, task force. A task force of, let's say, 5, 6 people that have all been given the charge. Hey, we're hosting the World Cup. Make it awesome. Make sure we don't look stupid. We want America to do good. Fix the roads, fix the stuff, organize the marketing. So there's a task force that's been assigned to hosting the World Cup. And their job is to coordinate efforts with FIFA and America to make sure that everything goes smoothly. All right. One of the Giuliani's, Mayor Giuliani's, son or somebody is on this task force. At any rate, here's what's been approached to this task force because Kyle's got some connections on that team. What if we produced a 3-minute video on the 250-year celebration of America, but we talked about the roots of America and the gospel? And the fact that America was formed, by many believers and by, the founding fathers, had, Jesus as a thought process, and share the gospel in this video. And here's what the prayer request is. This task force is considering it, and here's what the consideration is. If Kyle and his team, and this he would include some of the national players, he'd include some governmental leaders. If Kyle could create this video and it's rah rah America 250 years, welcome World Cup, you're on our turf, but it's also a sharing of the gospel. Could this video be shared at every game that's hosted in an American city? That's what's on the table. The gospel being shared in every stadium across America. However many matches, there's 104 matches. Probably 80 of those or 90 of them are American hosted games. That would be epic. So one of the things you guys can be doing in your prayer times, because we're already building up towards World Cup, keep that in mind. Just pray, Lord, give favor to that and let it be great and impact souls for Jesus. I just can't even imagine. I'll say it this way. If that were to happen, I'm pretty sure that would be the greatest gospel sharing initiative in the history of the earth. I mean, they're estimating 5 billion people are going to watch the World Cup. And so if most of those games are having this 3-minute video shown sharing the gospel, and of course it's got to have the political tone of rah rah America, because we're going through the avenue of the task force or whatever we're calling them. So anyway, I just think that's a really, really cool, connection point. And then secondarily, if you want to, for all these national teams that have got believers on their teams to mimic the video that the Colombian national team has already made and is circulating, just to get the gospel out in their own home countries and stuff. Just super cool stuff. So the point I'm trying to make here is wild things are happening. Oh, I got one more fun one. So I think most of you all know that before Jesus Saves 26, which again is what we're calling the initiative that we're all participating in, there were already plenty of groups approaching the subject of the World Cup and saying, hey, we got to make sure we get the gospel out. Let's take advantage of this opportunity. And one of those big organizations was Campus Crusade for Christ, Cru. And they have developed these, I think it's like a watch party in a box. They're calling it Victory Beyond the Cup is their initiative. And they've got these watch parties. It's like, I think they sell the box for $80 or something. And the idea is, hey, you love Jesus, host a watch party of one game at your house. But here's how to make that watch party spiritual and share the gospel with your friends and your family and the people that came. So that it's not just people coming to watch the game, but here's some tracks, here's some leadership resources, here's some follow-up points. It's a pretty cool thing. I haven't actually seen one of the boxes, but you do get a physical box in the mail, and it's all you need to host a watch party and make it about Jesus. Cool idea. Okay, here's the cool one. Twin Cities. So that's Minneapolis, St. Paul. Okay. Twin Cities is hosting a watch party at one of the stadiums, and they're expecting 35,000 plus people to come to this watch party at the stadium. So Minneapolis, St. Paul isn't even one of the 16 host cities. They're just like going for it. They're renting out a stadium and they're going to open it up and they're going to have people coming from all across their region who are mostly lost to come to this fun watch party, World Cup. Let's go for it. But they don't know it. They're going to get the gospel shared with them. They're like, this is the coolest thing. So creative things are happening. The body of Christ is responding. I don't know what things are happening in each of your cities. I'd like to actually hear some of that. But I just want you to know that whatever you feel like, well, I don't know if there's that much going on in our city, there's things happening all across America. There's things happening at the White House in relationship to this, things happening in Minneapolis, St. Paul, that's not even one of the 16 cities. Like the Lord is moving, and it's very clear that the World Cup is going to have a significant emphasis on Jesus in the background. And what a fun partnership that we get to be a part of this. I love it. So I wanted to share all that because just super fun encouragement stuff to help you keep praying and it share with your intercessors, etc. Um, okay, couple of announcements. Then I've got some questions for you, and then of course you can ask all the questions you want for me. JP, thanks for jumping on the call. Glad you're here, bro. So JP's covering the New Jersey, New York region. Um, okay, one, I have got an official update. I talked with Kyle, and one of the details that I was a little unclear on until pretty much right now is the schedule for the outreaches. Again, it's this 8 hour, schedule of like, okay, meet at the host church, get training, a little bit of worship time, go out on the trains and the buses and the cars, share the gospel, come back, share testimonies. Um, that 8 hour schedule, when I initially talked with you guys, all of you, I said, hey, listen, as the regional prayer hub, I need you to commit to the 8 hour outreach that's going to happen for each of the game days. Well, I got clarity because the schedule doesn't really look like it's outreach for 8 hours. It's more like outreach for 5 or 6 hours. So I got clarity with Kyle this week. All we need to do to keep the live prayer updates going, that prayer meeting that's going to happen on the game days, on the 7 or 8 or 9 game days, however many you have per city. Um, all we need to do for the live prayer meetings is just during the outreach portion. However, that does include travel because one of the significant components of the outreaches is share the gospel on the train, share the gospel on the bus, share the gospel en route to the location. So prayer updates will be happening for all 16 cities during that 5.5 or 6 hour block. Um, so if you're trying to figure out exactly what that looks like, shave an hour and a half off the, yeah, shave an hour and a half off the front and shave an hour and a half off the back or an hour off the back. So that's the time frame. So I just wanted to share that because that's a little bit reduced responsibility for all of us because I sold us as an 8 hour outreach times however many matches. And now it's really like a 5.5 hour outreach times however many matches. That makes sense. Okay, the next Zoom call, because we're doing these monthly, we're going to do the next Zoom call Wednesday, May 27th at 2 p.m. CST. So if you guys want to make note, and we'll send out a reminder, but it's Wednesday, May 27th at 2 p.m. CST. We've been kind of going back and forth between Thursdays and Wednesdays, just trying to hit some people that have got a little bit more availability on a Thursday. Some have got a little bit more availability on a Wednesday. I just want to try to mix that up a little bit. So Wednesday, May 27th, 2 p.m. Thank you, Luke, for putting that on the chat. Also, if you guys are not aware or you haven't checked it out, make sure you're familiarizing yourself with JesusSaves26.com. That's the official website for all of this. And there's a lot of content on there. JesusSaves26.com. I was just talking with Jonathan just a few minutes ago, and he was, we just problem solved a way that website can instantly start serving him, probably you too, in ways that maybe you weren't aware of. All of you guys are trying to figure out, okay, we're responsible for now a 5.5 hour prayer meeting where we've got live prayer updates that are coming in via the app, which we'll get more to the app probably in the next Zoom call, not this one. That's still being put together, but it will be. But we're all responsible for a 5.5 hour outreach or a Zoom call or live prayer meeting with live updates while the outreaches are happening. When do those outreaches happen? Well, I'm going to need you to do a little bit of legwork, okay? The answer exists. You just have to do a little math. Okay. On the website, Jesus Saves 26, um, every one of you has your own city page. So there's one for Houston, there's one for Boston, there's one for, you get the point. Click on your city page and it will show you the days and times of your matches. So if there's 7 matches in your city, it'll show, who's playing, what time, probably even, where. I mean, I guess it'll just be the major stadium every time. Why does that matter? Well, if you're wondering, when am I responsible for the 5.5 hours of the prayer meeting that's supposed to be receiving the live updates, prayer updates, go do the math, and whatever time it says, find this schedule, because one of these is posted, on the website for every city, and find where it says match kickoff. Well, this particular example says match kickoff 3 p.m. Well, this is an 8-hour block. Okay. It's always going to be an 8-hour block. It's always going to include these components, and each component's always going to last the same amount of time. So if you know the game starts at 3, that means the outreach is going to start at 12:30. Okay. But if the game starts at 12, that means the outreach is going to start at whatever 3 minus an hour and what was that, 2.5 hours? So yeah, if it was noon, then it would start 2.5 hours before that is when the outreach would start. I'm trying to give you the tools you need to do the math on your own so that I don't have to do the math for all 7 games times all 16 cities. Like, does everybody understand more or less what I'm communicating? Does that kind of make sense? All right, good. And so now you know when your outreaches are. You got to do a little bit of homework, but you've got access to everything that you need to be able to figure it out.
Just confirming that you said 2.5 hours before the match kickoff, correct?
Let me double check. This schedule says travel to stadium at 12:30, arrive at stadium, match kickoff starts at 3. So the difference between 3 and 12:30, that's 2.5 hours. Isn't that right? Am I doing my math right? 2.5 hours. Yeah. So what that would mean is every time you've got a match, your prayer your live updates prayer meeting starts 2.5 hours before. Okay. And then you can follow the same schedule to figure out when it stops. It stops when in this schedule, uh, laborers leave stadium, arrive back at host church 6 p.m. So in this case, that's 3 hours after the match started. Okay. There you go. So 6.5 hours as opposed to, is it 6.5? No, 3.5 plus 3, 5.5 hours. 3.5 plus, sorry, 2.5 hours plus 3 hours equals 5.5 hours. Guys, my math is challenged. So, but I believe that's correct. So it's a 5.5 hour commitment for your live updates, because that's when the official length of the outreaches will be. So thank you, Millie. Great point of clarification. The easiest math that we can just say now that I've done the math, and hopefully I did it right. I think so. I had enough nods, and I believe some of you have college degrees. So the math that you want to follow is 2.5 hours before the match starts. That's when your live updates prayer meeting starts. Great. Okay. I will leave time for Q&A at the end, I promise. But I just wanted to kind of ask, not everybody has to answer, but if you've got an answer, you got a good answer or something that can encourage us or that can give us some vision or can kind of give us some ideas on how you're handling things. First question is, how are things coming together for you guys, specifically related to you being the regional prayer hub for your city? How are things coming together? Are there things that like, yeah, we're making some traction here. We had some ideas about this. We've had some planning meetings. Things are going well. I just kind of want to hear how things are going, or if everybody's like, nope, we haven't spent a minute on this and we need a high charging kick in the butt. So I just want to know kind of how things are going. If anybody's got anything they want to share.
I'll share. We're in the San Francisco Bay Area, so I just we haven't done too much on it. However, what I did have a little energy on is combining it with a young adult intensive
Great.
So like the first game, like a couple days prior to the first game, we have a young adult intensive, and it all is encompassing that first Saturday game that we will have in the Bay Area.
Fun.
So I'm even thinking they could do, we'll even have like, we'll start the intensive, but then the next day will be, hey, we're going to go walk the stadium, prayer walk the stadium together. So including that as part of the intensive. And then the Saturday, which will be our first game, they could either do the prayer track or the outreach track, possibly, is
Cool.
maybe what I was thinking, because some might have a bent toward, want to go on the streets. And so anyways, just working around this and then inviting some people into the intensive. And I think it'll be just kind of a good way to do like a kaboom start.
Yeah.
And
great
then,
idea.
we'll kind of take it from there. But that was just like one idea we had that seems to have a little bit of traction right now.
It's great. I just, Amy, love that you're doing that. And just as a point of encouragement, like this is one of the ways you can make it your own. Integrate it into what you're already doing. Don't reinvent the wheel. If you were already going to do, in Amy's situation, a young adult intensive, what a great way to like fuel the initiative of Jesus Saves 26. And also what a great thing to then give to those 20-year-olds that are going to do the intensive. That's great. That's awesome. Anybody else want to throw in anything and just how things are going, how things are developing for you as the regional prayer hub?
I'll just say, besides our house of prayer, there's another interesting link that I have got to look into. But I was told by a pastor in our town that there is a athletic Christian group. what's the-
FCA?
Yes, there's a group because there's also a private school in our town, and supposedly there's a FCA, and we're thinking about reaching out to them and seeing
Great
if they
idea.
might want to come on those days. I mean, obviously,
What a great idea.
well, it wasn't mine. Someone's like, hey, go check this out. So that's one angle that I'll be looking
Brilliant.
into next couple weeks.
Luke, steal that. We got to do that. That's awesome. Because there's FCA everywhere or groups like it, And man, what a great piggyback point. Awesome idea. Anybody else want to share anything? And also, if anybody has already done your prayer walk for the stadium, because remember, we're all trying to prayer walk the stadiums at least once before. If anybody's done that, I'd just love to hear how it's gone. That could be thrown in here as well. All right. What do you feel like you need between now and the initiative to be successful and to make this work and to be a win for your ministry? I don't know that we're all going to have the answers, but maybe somebody would. But also, I think it's good to, verbalize it and go, man, I really think for this to be a win for us, we really need to take this step, or we need to see this happen, or those kinds of things. And I think us hearing each other and those answers, we might be able to resource one another, but we also might be able to, kind of identify some common aches that maybe I could be working on to try to help us, take some steps. If anybody wants to weigh in on that, what do you feel like you need to be successful as the regional prayer hub for Jesus Saves 26, kind of leading up to the event? Are there any things that you're like, man, I really feel like we need this?
I just think this is kind of basic, and hopefully we'll all have this, but I really need to know who is the host church
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
our region.
Mhm.
And I hope we're getting one, because I would love to connect with them ahead of time. And we could even, collaborate on, even prayer ahead of time,
Amen.
with them, and it be like a really relational thing. And kind of like we're all in this together. So let's get to know each other a little bit. So I was going to ask that at some point in this call, but if
Sure.
you know that if there is a host church yet in our region, that's one thing I need to be successful.
That is the most important thing. You need to be successful. Agreed, Amy. At this point, just to give you guys a little bit of like the trajectory of things, we started off needing 16 houses of prayer and 16 host churches. At present, we need one house of prayer, and it's maybe zero because they've more or less said yes. They just have to iron a couple things out. And I think we remain 6 host churches. Now, the reason that that's good news as opposed to, well, wait, I'm one of the cities that doesn't have one yet, right? But because now we've got all the rest of that ironed out, we can start to now put our energy towards the remaining cities, and that's what's happening right now. So efforts are being made in all remaining 6 cities that don't have a host church. It is our commitment to get you there. It's not there yet, but that's our goal and our plan. So just so you know, like that's where we're headed. So I hear that cry, I echo it. We're praying daily for it, and we have got all sorts of new efforts that we're making to try to figure out what other churches there are in regions. But I will say this, if you know any churches that you'd want to work with, it's probably better to work with that church than some other church that we somehow find and beat the bushes for. I would strongly suggest churches that you have relationship with. Okay. Love you. Love you, precious.
Yeah, can I just to testify? My name's
Millie,
Millie,
please.
Seattle. One of the things we've watched happen is Brad, connected with us as a house of prayer first, and then Kyle kind of separately connected with us about host churching. And I think what's so cool and happening in prayer spaces is that we often do have connections where we don't really think about when it comes to our cities.
Yeah.
And so if you know your city doesn't, we've been able to pull churches in Seattle that there's no way Time to Revive would have known even existed.
Right.
And so what he's saying, just to encourage you, I think I have that personality where I took the initiative and I'm like, all right, then I'm going to get the churches I really like involved too. And it's actually really gotten a ball rolling holistically. So just to encourage you from this end of it, that's been really fruitful.
That's awesome. And yeah, I love that. That's so great. But just so everybody hears, we are committed to find host churches in the cities that haven't yet. But if you know churches you'd like to work with, I just think that's the best place to start because they don't have to be huge. All they have to have is room for 100 people to be able to meet. I mean, that's most sanctuaries in America, have got that much space. That's all they need. So they need a willing heart and to be one of the churches that will go do outreaches, but they're not the only church. They're the host church. So I think the bar is pretty low as far as barrier for entry. I would think most churches could actually qualify as the host church. If they're bigger and they're more influential and they know more pastors, obviously that's even better. But I wouldn't say it's a barrier for entry. So yeah, great point there. Anything else that you guys would say, man, I really feel like we need this to be successful? More information, clarity on this point, any of those kinds of things. All right, let me ask you this. My phone rings. So if you guys have questions and need to get a hold of me, call me. I just want to make sure we're doing this touch point each month to make sure we're actually thinking about the World Cup, because I know we're all busy ministry leaders and it's really easy for us to be busy doing the other assignments that God gave us first. So I just want to make sure we've got this collaboration moment each month to dialogue about and catch you up and give you some encouragement, some stories and testimonies, et cetera. How are you guys? I'd love to hear answers, and maybe everybody could share. How are you all sharing the vision with your community? In what ways are you communicating it? We did an announcement at our service, or we publicized something. We made a page on our website. We're telling everybody to go to it. We're doing team meetings. I just want to hear, what are some of the efforts that you're doing to get your group? If you want to expand that to what you're doing to get the city involved, great. But I want to know what you're doing to get your community, your ministry, your house of prayer in the aware of what's coming up in Jesus Saves 26. Can you guys give some of that? If nobody jumps in immediately, I'll share what we've been doing. Yeah, go ahead, Jonathan.
I'm just doing some simple stuff, making up some Facebook posts. I've got some, email blasts going out. It's certainly going to be the announcement that we have just so happens that we're starting encounter services May 1st. So we'll have a weekly touch point where we can begin
Awesome.
to update people at that point. And then I do have plans to print out some posters and put it on our wall. When you showed that, I was like, okay, I gotta do that. That looks cool.
Hey,
And
and
then
if you want it,
Yeah.
Luke, make this resource available somehow. One of our guys went and put together, he just did it himself. He went and put together some of the club photos of some of the major teams that are like Argentina, some of the big players. And we've now printed those out as posters. And we're going to have those around our base as well. And it's just some resource we put together. It's not like something that exists out there. We just put it together. But if that would be helpful for any of you guys, because you're like, oh, that'd be cool too. You steal it. So Luke, if we can somehow get those PDFs available to this group. All right. Great job, Jonathan. Thank you. It's awesome. Anybody
think-
else? How are you sharing? Go ahead, Helen.
For us, we similarly, like I made our own in-house kind of poster around it. We had talked about this that for our community, what worked really well is like switching language to we're praying for the lost during
Love
the
it.
World Cup.
Love it.
So I think, as I've thought through it, I wanted to use language that I knew would resonate with Seattle and the unique what that Seattle thinks.
Good thinking.
And I've just seen even that little flip, people have like gotten so excited about it.
Come on.
And so yeah, I mean, we also have a ton of young people, so I feel like you just tell a few of them and
Yeah,
they're still
fire.
being sanctified in gossip, so it just spreads like wildfire. If I'm real honest.
Yep,
And
get
so
real. That's awesome.
we tell our kind of core group, and they just have an amazing way of rallying other people. And so we just did it with our core volunteer group, telling them, and just kind of org wise, I was like, this is what we're pushing through. So everybody think through your own areas of like,
I love
how do
it.
you in emails want to, how do you in volunteer want to get people involved? And so for me, it's more just like casting vision and saying it in a way that resonates for our people.
Love it.
And similarly, like we have posters and email, all that stuff. But I think I always approach it at the like, if I can get people feeling passionate about it,
Amen.
more people than I could get just sending emails will end up showing up. So
Winning. I love it. Way to make it your own. That's awesome. I mean, what a small pivot, really. But it was impacting and you knew your crew. You knew your world. Like, awesome. I love that. Great. Anybody else? How are you guys sharing to your community? JP, you jumping in?
Hey guys, yeah, this is JP from Eastern Gate in the metro area. One of the things we've done, because our community is very bilingual, it's multicultural. So we have a lot of people that are African, Indian, Hispanics, American, white. All we have the whole spectrum. We've started to do advertising in different languages, just utilizing AI.
Yeah.
Utilizing AI to just kind of just create different, curate some of these announcements for the different languages. And then we had somebody in our community. We have a small group of I would say older young ladies that have a lot of strength and eager. And they took they took some of our flyers and they actually took it to the supermarkets, and they've been posting them on the different, you know how you get like the looking for rent, and then
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
utilizing like looking for prayer and need to be saved, and putting them on their boards in their different towns. So that was one unique way that
That's
I
so
hadn't
fun.
thought of that. When they
Totally.
told me about it, I was like, go for it. Just don't get us fined or ticketed by the supermarkets.
Yeah.
But other than that, we have the benefit of having our host church be the actual church that gathers at the House of Prayer here in New Jersey. The only challenge we're having right now is that our state is in a little bit of a battle versus the transit situation.
Yeah.
And so we're getting a lot of people that are pushing back, that are saying not pushing back, but they're just giving us the comment that they don't know if they could participate because of how bad the traffic in our area is going to be, and
Right.
they're looking at doing a price hike of transit for trains where you're paying almost $120 round trip to go in and out of the city to the stadium, and so that's been kind of a
Oh my
it's
gosh.
it's very it's crazy. It's nuts to the point where some of the conversations were around whether or not New Jersey would still be hosting the World Cup. It's still going to happen. It's just a political push between the FIFA and the new governor that just came into place. But it's been one of the things that I was just conversating with the pastor that is that's working on the hosting, and he was saying that there's we're trying to figure out that aspect, how to do the outreaches
Wow.
in a way. And for us it's a little bit easier. We're locally, we're here, we'll be in the building, maintaining the prayers. But for them, their challenge has been, I don't have people that are willing to go because no one wants to pay those tickets. No one wants to pay, to go into the city, then come back to 30 minutes out and then go back into the city. And so that's a little bit of our challenge,
Oh my gosh.
logistically. But
Hey, I'm
but
making note. That's crazy.
yeah, so other than that, advertising wise, we started slowly now to do more communication with churches, and also some outreach with some of the houses of prayer that exist in our area.
Golly. Yeah, you bring up a really good point. I heard the Dallas mayor released some sort of report that said they expect an additional 1 to 2 million drivers in Dallas during the 40 days of the World Cup. I'm like, holy moly. Like
Yeah,
that is going to overwhelm every system. It's
yeah,
going to be
yeah,
crazy. So wow,
yeah.
JP. Okay, well, listen, I'll pass that along to Kyle just to see if there's any brainstorming we can do to just try to help because that's crazy. I know one of the things, just as a little point here, one of the things that we're doing locally, and I know this is kind of a big initiative, so I'm not asking anybody to do this. We were running into a problem where the local bus system, Dallas Fort Worth does not have great public transit. It's not great. The local bus and train system, the train runs from Dallas to Fort Worth and runs about maybe 5 miles from the stadium. Okay. And then the bus system, the DART bus system, has a route that goes from the train station to the stadium. The challenge is that bus route is going to be woefully insufficient in how many buses are going to be chartered for that route. So we have been petitioning the Dallas, DART, whatever conference, whatever it is, district, to quadruple the number of buses committed to that route because it's going to be so overwhelmed and woefully insufficient. Thankfully, they're listening. They're like, oh yeah, actually that was a blind spot we didn't see. But there are those kinds of weird transit issues that are going to come up. And of course, that's not, as a house of prayer and as the Kyle and the outreach team, it's not really our responsibility to figure out how Dallas is going to do, public transit, but we're thinking, how do we get evangelists on those buses and trains? And there's not going to be any room for them because everybody's going to be standing in line for a year, to just wait for the next bus or whatever. So we're trying to problem solve that, to some degree. Anybody else want to share what you're doing in rallying your community and sharing with your community? I'll share what we're doing. We've been having a lot of meetings. We've been doing a lot of hype in our staff meetings, sharing testimonies, talking about what we're doing. And one of the things that we've been doing, because for me, in all honesty, I'm an opportunist. I want to take advantage of every moment that we can. I don't want to just do World Cup, just do outreach, just do prayer. I want to try to build the assignment God gave me, build the prayer room. So if there's a way to do that while accomplishing all the main goals, I want to do it. So here's what we decided from the front end that we were going to do. We were going to do a heavy push via email and Instagram, etc., to try to rally the masses, everybody that likes our house of prayer. Hey, for 40 days, would you come get involved with us? I mean, we've got a few thousand people on our email list. Well, we don't have a few thousand people coming around to our house of prayer. We got a couple hundred, but we're marketing to those few thousand and saying, for 40 days, would you come get involved? Would you pick one prayer meeting a week you could commit to? Would you be a worship leader for us for this season? And we've already got responses. We've already got, I don't know, about 10 people that have already said, yes, I will commit to come be significantly involved for the 40 days of the World Cup that weren't already. Well, that's awesome. That's going to beef things up for us. And of course, while they're with us, we're going to do our best to connect with them. And hopefully some of them will stick around afterwards. The fact that we've got 10 already with one email, that's all we've sent out so far is one email. I'm convinced we'll double or triple that. So I'm really excited about that. I think that'll be a great way for us to get people involved in prayer meetings long term. And anyway, so I'm just excited about that. Okay, let's pivot now. We got about 15 minutes left. What questions do you have? What points of concern? What things do you just want to say? You've been looking forward to this Zoom call, or maybe not everybody loves Zoom calls, but you knew the Zoom call was coming, and you're like, hey, I'd love to be able to share this. Are there any of those kinds of points or questions that you guys have? Because I want to take them seriously and do the best I can to go find answers if I don't know answers. Ready, go. All right, well, cool.
I guess I got a question.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
And it's just because of something you said earlier, about like host churches. So is it the host church that is rallying folks within themselves, or is the host church just a place where people that signed up to be part of this Jesus Saves are just going to arrive? Because if it's not the host church and there's just a bunch of people that are going there, that makes it harder to connect with people.
Right.
Because if a church just says, yeah, you can meet in our sanctuary and use our facility to come in and out, then I'm not actually connecting with a local church.
Yeah. So just like each of you said yes to a list of things,
Yeah.
the host church says yes to a list of things. It's a different list. One of them is our church will do outreaches. Our church will be involved in the outreaches, and we're going to rally our church community to be involved as much as possible in the 7 or 8 outreaches that are happening in our city. Second, as the host church, we will try to connect with other churches in our region to see if they can come and participate in these outreaches. Third, we'll work with the regional prayer hub and coordinate in prayer initiatives and that kind of thing so that there can be some measure of communication and connection point. So there's a list of things. There might be 1 or 2 other things on that list as well. But yeah, we're not looking for empty buildings we can use. We're looking for churches that will partner. So part of the reason it's hard to find a host church is because we're not just looking for an empty building. We want involvement. We want engagement. We want that pastor involved. We want that pastor calling themselves the host church for 40 days, thinking of themselves that way, making announcements on Sunday mornings. Hey guys, we're owning the outreach. It's coming up. The first one is next Saturday. Like, we want that level of energy, as well as the collaborative effort of them connecting with other pastors that they know in the region. Now, they're not the only point of connection. Time to Revive is coming in. That's Kyle's ministry, is coming in and helping connect other churches to that host church, as well as us as Regional Houses of Prayer. We all know churches, and some of the ones that we're even connecting with to say, hey, would you want to partner with prayer? I love the way that Amy Knight said it earlier in relationship to her partnering with the 20-year-olds that she's bringing for the young adult intensive. Some of them, it's going to make more sense for them to be heavier on outreach than it is on the prayer side. Well, the churches that we know as prayer houses in various cities, there's going to be some churches we know that it's going to make more sense for us to try to directly connect them to the outreaches. And then there might be a couple that it makes more sense to directly connect to the prayer side. But everybody, whether you're the regional host church, you're the regional prayer hub, you're some church in the city, you're some soup kitchen in the city, you're some guy or gal in the city, all parties can play in both camps, the prayer side and the outreach side. It's just kind of like, well, to what degree do you want to emphasize this or that? Obviously, we're the prayer hubs, our primary emphasis is the prayer side, but I'm going to go out on outreach, and I'm encouraging our staff to go out on outreach. It's just, that'll be 20% of their effort, or 25%, and 75% is going to be in the prayer room. anyway, I just wanted to kind of paint that picture because we're all in this together. It's just each part's going to have a more emphasized this way or more a greater emphasis that way. So great question. Any other questions or points of clarification? Anything else? IHOP KC crew, you guys all know what's going on? Y'all feel good to go? Okay.
I hope so. I think, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, we're good.
Joseph, I know you got it. Hey, and thanks for all the connections that you've been making in KC, man. Joseph, I just want to brag on Joseph for a minute because this dude from day one was like, I am going to find a host church if it kills me. And he has probably had conversations with 10 pastors in the region. And we finally got one that we think might be, a possibility. So anyway, they haven't said yes yet, but we're working towards it. So thanks for all your efforts, Joseph. Okay. Anybody else?
Hey Brad, I'm not sure if you mentioned it earlier. What's the status on the app that we're going to be using for communication with the different locations as House of Prayer and then the outreaches? Is that something that we're still going to be talking about in the coming
Yeah,
months, or?
let me send a question right now. They're pretty good about getting back to me immediately. Give me a second. What's the update on the app? How close are we? I just sent that to Kyle and his kind of right-hand gal, Emily. I know it's going to happen because every time I've been hearing about it, it's like, yeah, it's in the works or it's almost done or that kind of thing. But I don't have it to like give to you at this moment. But I do have full assurance that some version of this is real. And I think I told all of you guys this before. 7 years ago, maybe it was 8, we did a really big initiative with Time to Revive, and we operated these live update prayer meetings. We did it for 50 days, and that was before the app. So the systems are in place. The only thing that's changing is it will be in app form. But worst case, we just go to the website and it operates the same. It's like there is something that exists. We're just trying to get it integrated into an app so that all of us could download the app on our phones and iPads and everything else. It just makes it the easiest for interface and sharing and usage. But it exists. It's just, is it in app form yet? I've been told we're real close. Great question. And I'm sorry I don't have that to give to you yet. You can imagine trying to do this across 16 cities is just a lot. And so our main focus still is wrapping up the remaining host churches, because obviously this whole thing relies on a regional prayer hub and a regional host church. And so I feel confident that we're going to get there. I mean, the fact that we're already at like 75 or 80%, I mean, it's like, we'll figure it out. The Lord's going to give us the rest of them. We just got to do the legwork. Great. Any other questions? These were good. Anything else? Okay. Well, let's get out on time and early. Let me just pray for us and thank you guys for prioritizing this call. FYI, the Mexico houses of prayer, because there's 3 of them, they're getting Martha, who works for Time to Revive, is serving as the liaison between this call, this group, and the Spanish only speaking houses of prayer. And so she's doing separate calls and stuff with them, just so that you're aware. All right. Well, Lord, I just thank you so much for what you're doing. And thank you for just the camaraderie here. Fun to build friendships across the country and beyond. It's just wild to see what you're doing. I pray, Lord, that you continue to give all of us divine ideas for how to do it well in our city, and even ideas that could be transferable to others, or at least some others. Let these Zoom calls just go great every time we meet, and give us the grace. So Lord, move, help us in Jesus' name, give grace. Amen. Last point, the next Zoom call that we're doing, the date that I gave you, what did I say? May 27th, 2 p.m. CST. That will be the last Zoom call before the World Cup starts. But we'll still do Zoom calls during the World Cup. We'll still do 2 more. And that way we're able to touch base and problem solve, because right now we've got a lot of great highfalutin ideas that we haven't tested yet. But man, what's it like when we're actually live and we've got soccer matches going on and chaos is happening? So I do still want us to meet on a monthly Zoom call, even in June and July. Okay. Okay. Thank you guys for giving some time. This was awesome. Appreciate you.